All right, everybody, let's just get right on into it. So I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. The first part of this book goes over specifically strokes, and there's very specific things we get into: consistency in spacing, size, weight, and direction. And there's different examples that he's laid out into help demonstrate those different techniques. So you go through and you do all these different techniques. When it got to the weight, I did mix up the medium a little bit. I grabbed my ballpoint pen. I tried a thicker pen because the example he had was kind of a grass-like example, and I didn't feel like I was able to get the weight example thoroughly. And then I realized it's because of the way I was holding the pen. So there's different ways in which you start to really pay attention to pen and ink, the way you're using it, just by the amount of times you're drawing lines on a piece of paper. And so that was really helpful part of this exercise too, was you drew so many lines and you watched yourself do it a lot that you notice these little interesting things. So pay attention to when you're doing this and how it's working with you. I do have other separate pieces of paper on the side that I would expand past the workbook. You don't have to do things in the workbook. It's probably best to just get a piece of printer paper, trace over things, and do it outside of the workbook so you can get multiple uses out of this. As long as the original part of the example remains untouched, you can probably get multiple uses out of this. I'm going to do the first parts in the book, and then I will extend past into separate pieces of paper so I can get more exercise out of it, because I wanted to draw a lot of lines. I wanted to do these exercises a lot. So yeah, drawing those things was fun. The next thing we have is pen control. So pen control, I am still in the process of that. So make sure you stretch your hands out for any of this. It goes over how the base of your hand is used as an anchor. You want to have a moderate grip. So if you're cramping a lot, you want to make sure you're loosening your grip a little bit, and play with mediums here. I think playing with mediums throughout of this is kind of helpful too, just in terms of giving your eyes a little bit of a break, because they can start to go a little cross-eyed when you're using the same size and trying to do the same amount of spacing and the same amount of width and weight. You're paying attention to all of these different elements when you're doing these things. So mixing up the medium, whether it's the pen thickness, the pencil, ballpoint pen, the way it moves, it kind of resets your brain, resets your eyes, and you're able to endure a little bit more stamina. That said, be sure you do give yourself breaks and take a step away from the workbook, because this is a lot. Even if you are professional at these types of things and you can power through this, I'm sure that throwing cross-eyed is something relatable at the end of the day when you're stippling or cross-hatching at certain areas and you're being extremely meticulous, because you are paying attention to all of these different elements. At some points during these exercises, I could tell when I definitely needed to take a break. My lines start getting sloppy and they start being wonky, and the weights get different, the size gets different, and I'm like, oh, I should probably eat, or I should probably just walk away for a while. That's a lot of what I ended up doing here. I cannot stress this enough. This workbook is a workout. It does help build stamina and endurance. Definitely be careful. Yeah, this is me just doing more lines. You ever wonder what is in a line? The line's journey. Anyway, I'll shut up. You guys can watch me do lines. Yeah, if you all need anything, I will probably still be here doing this. Same time next week. All right, tune in next time.